Oh, yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. Come on in the room. We are going to get this party started. Oh, yeah. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. Happy to have everyone tuning in on this morning. Come on in the room. Good morning, Mr. Tony Sherman. Happy to have you in this morning. Good morning to everyone. It is 9 a.m. It is time to get this party started. So as you come on in the room, as you're listening in, just send me a message. I am Coach Steele, and you are here with Coach Steele's Finance Training. So we're giving everybody a few more seconds, maybe another minute to dive on in the room so we can get this party started with Coach Steele's Finance Training. And as a team, we're going to huddle up again today. And as we huddle up today, we are talking about cutting expenses. Great conversation to have, great conversation that really just helps you sharpen your tools when it comes to finances and being very sharp when it comes to cutting expenses and what you do creatively. So, as it is 9 a.m., you know what we do Saturday morning. We have conversations about financial literacy. We have these important conversations to help improve our financial situation. There's nothing wrong with always making progress. You can always fine tune something. You can always work on something and find out what works for you. And so you already know what you need to do. If you're cooking your breakfast, make sure you turn me up on your Bluetooth or on your phone. If you got me on YouTube, because Coach Steele's Finance Training is live on Facebook and it is also live on YouTube. So you can always go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to Coach Steele's Finance Training. Hit the subscribe button to Coach Steele's Finance Training. Good morning, Mr. Patrick Underwood. We are talking about cutting expenses on today. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you send me a hello, a comment, something. That way I can greet you as well. If you had, I don't care if it's 2 seconds, 10 seconds, or a minute. If you take time out to tap into what I'm doing, I want to show my appreciation to you because you didn't have to. You could have kept scrolling. You could have kept going, but you didn't. So anyway, on today, we are going to discuss some more financial literacy topics. And so I want to get that party started. And like I said, on today, we are talking about cutting expenses. Great conversation to have about cutting expenses. Everyone cuts expenses different. And so you can be very creative when it comes to cutting expenses. And on today, I'm going to try to creatively give everyone a challenge. For some people, it will be difficult because you've already worked on cutting expenses. And for others, it might be easy. So it just depends on a lot of different variables, but I'll talk about it a little bit later. And so as we have this conversation about how do we cut expenses and bills properly, what are some effective things we can do? We have to look at all the different types of bills and expenses that we have. And also there's benefits in cutting expenses. You know, think about it. What could you do with an extra $500 a month because you got rid of bills or expenses? What could you do with the extra $300 a month because you got rid of some bills and expenses? What money moves could you make? I like the way that sounds right there. I like making money moves. So what money moves could you make if you found a creative way to eliminate some bills and expenses or reduce them? Whether it's 20, see, it doesn't take much. You can reduce one bill by $10. You can reduce another bill by $15. Guess what? You have recaptured $25, and now we can put that $25 to work. Now we can like a sniper, take that $25 and use it as some bullets as a tool to knock out some other things that we need to snipe in our budget, whether it's taking care of things, eliminating things, or being able to invest that $25 that we found. It may be $50 on your cell phone bill, you name it. We are going to do the work that it takes to eliminate expenses and bills or reduce them. And that's the conversation that we are going to have today. So good morning to you, Shauna Johnson, as you are tuning in. So now let's start with one of the first. Oh yeah, and a few more house rules as we go through this. Once again, as you're tuning in, feel free to tune in, say good morning, say hello. That way I know who's listening in. I want to greet you and appreciate you for tuning in. Once again, you can tune in Facebook Live and you can tune in on the YouTube channel. If you're tuning in on the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Coach Steele's Finance Training. The YouTube channel is growing. Y'all are doing an awesome job of supporting on the YouTube channel. Phenomenal. And so that number is getting up. And every time we hit a milestone, I give a little money away. Good morning to you, Heaven Harper. Happy to have you tuning in. Glad that you are a part of Coach Steele's Finance Training on this morning. Appreciate you taking time out. So, and another thing, have y'all noticed the past few days that cryptocurrency has just like shot up? And I'm not telling you to go buy any cryptocurrency. I'm not telling you what to go invest in. As I always tell everyone on here, always do your own research. Always check on things yourself. Do your due diligence. But crypto has gone through the roof. I had a friend call me early this morning, hyped up and excited because he is up $30,000 in profit in cryptocurrency that he has bought. And he's pretty pumped up. He said, I'm not going to sell yet. I'm going to hold it. All right. So let's see here. Now, let's start at the first place. When we look at how to cut expenses, one of the first things that we can look at is housing. And feel free to interact. When it comes to cutting expenses, as far as housing, and that's whether you pay rent, that's whether you pay a mortgage. How do you cut expenses with housing? Sometimes that's one of the more difficult ones to do. Good morning to you, Mr. Reggie Allen. Appreciate you tuning in and letting me know that you're tuning in as well. I'll start with one of the more difficult ones because once you are actually in a house, once you have shelter over your head, that is one of the more difficult places to cut expenses because let's say you're renting. If your landlord or the owner of the company or the apartment complex, if they have set the rent, good morning to my lovely wife, Yvette, if they have set the rent in place and the rent is $1,000 a month, I mean, there's not really much you can cut out of there because it's already a contract, it's a lease agreement, so there's not much you can change there. Some people say, and I would do this if my situation was extreme and I really needed to reduce my spending. That way I don't lose other things that I have, or I can't buy groceries, or I can't, pay basic things. I would downsize. And so what some people do is downsize on their housing. And so there's pros and cons when you downsize with the housing because a lot of times you're going to get what you pay for. So when it comes to cutting expenses and bills, when it comes to housing, just know you will get what you pay for, but sometimes you temporarily have to do what it takes. You got to do what it takes in that moment until you can improve your situation. So never be ashamed, never be embarrassed about what you have to do. If people used to see you up here and you make an adjustment and now you're in their eyes, you're down here. But honestly, I'll tell you this. I used to coach a lot of basketball. And so when we had guys, young kids that would come in there and we would go through shooting drills, the average child, when they come in through doing, and y'all didn't know y'all was going to get a basketball lesson on today. The average young man, when you come to do shooting drills and training, they run through the drill. They're usually up high. They're standing, they're running to the ball, they catch and they shoot. But what we tell a lot of kids when you're going through dribbling drills, shooting drills, you name it, I tell because when you shoot, it's a motion to it. You're going to be low and you're coming up in an explosive state and you're releasing the ball. Well, a lot of young people, young kids who aren't training and aren't used to muscle memory, what they do is they will run into that drill up high, then they got to get down, then they got to raise up to shoot the ball. But guess what? Because you came into the drill high, your body in a high posture standing tall, then you had to get down so that you could shoot. You gave time for the defender to close out to try to block you. Well, we tell kids, young people when training, come into that drill when you're running to the ball or running around that cone, be low, almost like you're crouching, already be in that low state. So when you catch the ball, there's only one way to go. You're going up and you're releasing, boom. So it saves time and it stops the defender from blocking you. Same thing with your finances. When it comes to your finances and you're running your finances drill, Coach Steele's finance training, when you're doing it, it's okay to start low and then just work your way up high. Think about that all the time and whatever it is that you do. If you're going to buy stocks, do you want to buy stocks when they're already high? No, you want to buy low and then you want to sell when it's high. You don't always want to jump into things when it's at its pinnacle because it has a greater chance of potentially dropping back down. That's time wasted and that's money lost, value lost. So if you had to downsize on a house, if it's going to help you survive, if it's going to help you be able to maintain yourself and allow you to have the 4 basic things that you may need in life, which is shelter, food, utilities, transportation, then do what it takes and don't worry about what other people say. Also, when we get to the next thing, the next subject that we're going to talk about is utility savings. And I don't know if Tony Sherman is still on here or not, but when I think of utility savings, there's certain things that I do, and there's certain things that other people do. And some people, I do basic things. I've heard different people do different things. For me, I do monitor my utility bill. I do monitor how much I spend on electricity, and I pay the electric company because it bothers me when that bill is too high. It really just irks my nerves to see how much money I have to give them because we didn't cut the lights off or we just weren't a little more responsible than we could have been. So that's one thing that I look at. And so I try to be creative. I'm like the light police at my house. I don't know how y'all are, but is anybody like the electricity police at their house? And if you're an electricity policeman, you know what I'm talking about, or a policewoman. But I'll watch to see when you leave out your room if you cut that light off. I'm monitoring to see what the AC level is at, the degrees that the house is at. I'm monitoring when you leave out the bathroom, if you left the light on, all of that. I'm having you go back. Hey, go get that. Hey, go cut that back off. I'm the electricity police in my house. Is anybody the electricity police in their house? And so that's something that I look at. Like I said, some people have a little more extreme. Shauna says she's the electricity and water police at her house. I mean, just be in the shower. Who got somebody in the shower? Just like, why is your shower 30 minutes long? Why is the shower 30 minutes water? Why you got that water running in the sink and you're not washing dishes, you're not getting a cup of water, you just got the water running. And so you got to monitor all that stuff. And one thing I did when it comes to like cutting expenses and utilities, one thing I did with my kids, and if those of you who have families, you can do this. When the bills are extremely high, I set the kids down and I showed them what the electric bill, water bill was. I said, listen, we've got to do a better job. You all are wasting a lot of money. So when they would ask if they could have certain things or I would do certain things for them, I say no, because we just had to spend an extra $100 on the electric bill and water bill. So I can't do it because I got to give it to the electric company. I got to give it to the water company. And I said, well, next month, based on how much money we save, I'll give you a cut on what we save. In other words, if we save $100, I might give them 50 of the 100 that we saved. So I come out good and they come out good. And so the next month they did a good job of saving, and we saved a bunch of money. And from that, I was able to help them or support them with what they wanted to do because they put forth a concerted effort as a family, as a team, to help save money. And they saw those bills, they saw it in their face. And then I brought up the next month bill and they saw the progress that we made. So that's something you can always do. Have a family meeting, look at that electric bill, and also reconnect with them the next month to show them the progress that they made so they can see what they are capable of as a family if we all work together to accomplish that mission on saving electricity. I don't know if Tony Sherman is still in here. Tony can tell y'all what he does. It's a little extreme. I wonder if I can, let me see if I can try something here. Yeah, I don't know if Tony Sherman is busy or not, but I might send him an email so that he can tell y'all the extremes that he goes to save money on electricity. And so next thing that we're going to talk about also is transportation. So let's see here. I'm going to send Tony this email. All right. So when it comes to transportation, ladies and gentlemen, this is another one that you could probably end up saving more money on because whether it's the vehicle that you buy or the monthly payments that you make, or whether it comes to the gas that you have to put in vehicles, it's not too difficult. One easy way that you can save money on gas is not travel as much. Or when you get home, instead of listening to the last 10 minutes of that song, cutting the car off faster and just go ahead and get in the house, or cut the car off and sing the last bit of the song to yourself. Either way, allowing the car to run while you're sitting in a parking lot or wherever, just running that gas, that's another way you can save money on gas. Or, like I said, not traveling as much. Making a grocery list, that's another way to save money on gas. Make a grocery list for the week or for the month, whatever it is, so that you're not having to make so many runs back and forth to the store. Oh, I forgot this, go back to the store. Oh, I forgot that, go back to the store. So that's another way that you can save money on gas, is making a list and trying to remember everything and writing down everything that you potentially need. Sherman, if you got that email from me, let me know. And so also, another thing I would say you can save money on, now sometimes it's too late, but depending on what type of vehicle you get, whether you buy a vehicle and you pay for it in cash, or whether you buy a vehicle and you make monthly payments, and whether you space that payment out for a longer period of time or a short period of time, all of that is going to dictate what your monthly payments are and how long it will take you to pay off that vehicle. So I would keep that in mind as well, is transportation, the type of vehicle you buy and what those monthly payments are going to look like. There are some people, they buy vehicles and the car payment alone will take up a third of your paycheck. And that's dangerous. Imagine having a car payment. Like, some people might make $3,000 a month, but their car payment is $1,000. That's a third of your paycheck. And that's, you really put yourself in a vulnerable spot at that point, because you still have to pay for rent. You still have to pay for a mortgage. And so keep those things in mind. Whenever you finance something, whether it's a vehicle and you're paying for these things, keep in mind you still have car insurance that you have to pay as well. And so you don't want that one liability, that one expense, to eat up a majority of your paycheck, because now you're going to find yourself going to work just to pay for that liability. That is a bad habit that many people have, where you are going to work and spending a majority of time at work for the month just to pay for a liability that eats up a majority of your check. You want to start shifting your mindset and be able to go to work to enjoy certain things, pay for certain liabilities, but also you want to be able to go to work. So at the end of the month, you have extra money left over to help you invest in assets and be able to purchase things that will eventually bring in more money later on as well. So transportation is another thing that we can work on saving money on, depending on what deal you get and what things you go. So do a lot of research when you get ready to go buy a vehicle. And sometimes, and I'm not saying everyone to do this, sometimes you can find great deals on a vehicle that somebody may be personally selling off to the side. It may not be on a car lot. Somebody might be selling a vehicle for 5,000, 3,000, 6,000, whatever it is. Then you don't have a car payment. You don't have a monthly car payment, but it's just a matter of saving up the money for that vehicle to buy it in cash. So keep that in mind as well. Next, when we look at it, the next one is, oh yeah, when it comes to vehicles, and I used to be bad at this. I didn't know any better. I was young. Do the monthly maintenance. So if you want to help save money on vehicles, make sure that you are doing the monthly maintenance on vehicles. Always do your not monthly maintenance, your continual maintenance on your vehicles as well. When it's time for an oil change, go get the oil change. When I was younger, I didn't understand the severity of it. I didn't comprehend it. So I was like, I don't have money to get an oil change. I'm gonna just try to, and I didn't know how to change oil either. I'm gonna just kind of try to ride a little bit longer, or I'm gonna just try to make do without having to spend money for this and that. And so I didn't get those regular maintenances done, and all of a sudden now I got an engine problem. It is better to spend the money to get the maintenance done than for that vehicle to have problems, and it's going to cost you way more than what the maintenance would have cost you. So go ahead and start learning how to budget for the maintenance. That's key. Sometimes, like I did, I would not budget for the maintenance of the vehicle. So therefore, I would put off getting the maintenance done, which would then in turn, I would have vehicle problems because I didn't budget for the maintenance. And so if you know you got an oil change and the oil change costs $60, it doesn't take much. Start putting $10 to the side every month. So whenever that month hits, whatever it's every 3 months, every 6 months, do the math and start sitting that money to the side, out of sight, out of mind, so that you'll be prepared to have the maintenance money there. All right, next subject that we have, cutting expenses, is subscriptions. Lord have mercy. I think subscriptions are what is taking a large sum of people's money every month. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if subscriptions takes 5 to 10%. If subscriptions aren't 5 to 10% of your monthly expenses. So if your monthly expenses are like $5,000, it's possible that your subscriptions might be about $500. That's like 10%. 5% would be like $250. So I believe subscriptions account for 5 to 10% of people's monthly subscriptions. And this is big. And I've talked with this about one of my classes last month when I was teaching financial literacy, about really recognizing how much money you spend on subscriptions, or memberships. It may be membership fees or it may be subscriptions. When you look at that, I think the average is in America, I think it's like around 150 per person. People spend average on subscriptions. Now, there's some people, they spend way more. 150 is just the average. And I gave an example. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to share my screen to give you an example of what that looks like and what you could do with that subscription money if you were not giving it away. So to that subscription. So let's look at an example when we go. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen. Stay tuned. All right. So when we're looking at this page right here, It's a compound interest calculator. So that's all we're looking at right here is a compound interest calculator. And when we look at this compound interest calculator, we're going to look at those monthly subscriptions we have. So when we look at monthly subscriptions, and let's say instead of paying Jeff Bezos, instead of paying Netflix, do we really want to talk about Netflix today? Can we talk about Netflix on today after last night? So when we talk about Amazon, Netflix, and all these other subscriptions, Sirius Radio, you name it, let's look at if we took all of those subscriptions, however much you spend on subscriptions, and let's say you started to invest that money. So you started off with zero. All right, so we got zero in there right now. And let's say your monthly subscriptions to different things are $150 a month. So now we start taking that $150 and we start investing it into an asset or to something, an ETF or S&P 500. And let's say we do that for the next 20 years. Anybody got 20 more years to invest? We'll do 20 years. All right, so we got that. Let me make sure it's showing up for you all to be able to see. All right, it is. And then the interest that we're going to make, let's say it's at least 10% interest that we're going to make on this investment. All right, so on averages at least 10%, $150 a month being invested. And let's calculate and see how much money we will have at the end of 20 years. All right. So when we look at this, it says in 20 years, if we quit giving Netflix, Jeff Bezos, and everybody else all our money, we would have on average, $103,095. That's just an estimate if that investment of $150 were to grow for 20 years, making about 10% compound interest. And that 10% is very conservative because there are investments out there making 11, 12% annually, actually. So that's a conservative number. Now, as you're listening in, let's do a hypothetical. Someone who has extra money left over at the end of every month, what would you say? Just give me a number. Tell me how much your monthly contribution would be and tell me how many years you want to invest it. And we're going to plug it into the calculator. So I'm going to go back to try to catch y'all's. Let's see. I'm going to come over here and look at what you are going to tell me to plug in. So as you're tuning in, y'all give me some numbers to plug in that you may want to look at so you can see what those results are. Tell me how much a month you want to invest and how many years. And we can look at what those results would be off of an estimate of maybe 10% compound interest annually. And as we get close towards the end of this live, this is it's going to connect with the challenge that I'm going to give everyone. And so the challenge far as Coach Steele's finance training, okay, Anitra put $100 a month for 15 years. All right. Let's see. All right, so we're starting off at zero. Anitra starting off at zero. She wants to put $100 a month, and we're doing 10 years. Let's see, and we're going to stay at 10%. And let's see how much she will have. We'll hit calculate. So in 10 years, if you decided, hey, you know what, I really don't need Netflix, I'm just going to get a Fire Stick. And I really don't need cable, I'm going to get a Fire Stick. And if I do that for 10 years, I'm going to have, on average, close to $19,124.91. Now, I think the S&P 500, I think it's it might be a little over 10%. But let's say the profit is, let's say 12%, just so y'all can see the difference from 10% to 12%. Instead of 19,000, it's about 21,000. So Anitra would have $19,000. That's enough money for another. Well, of course, y'all know I like real estate. So that's enough money for another down payment on an investment property. And so what I would do is I would take that $19,000 if I needed to put it all down, and I would put it on an investment property. So if that investment property can make maybe, $500 a month, $300 a month, and all I had to do is put 19,000 down, I'll make that money back very quick. So if I was making $500 a month off an investment property and all I had to do was put 19,000 down, then I'm winning big time, because 500 a month is $6,000 profit on the year. So, in less than 3.5 years, I will have made this back, but my return on investment would be phenomenal if I'm making 500 a month. Because if I set that $19,000 in a savings account throughout the year, if I just build it up and it was sitting there, if I set $19,000 in a savings account, it would not make $6,000 profit annually. So I would be putting that money to work. All right, let's see if somebody else put any more hypotheticals on there. Okay, Sam she put $300 for 10 years. All right, so let's do $300 for 10 years. And then Yvette wants to do $50 for 10 years. Why are we doing $50 for 10 years? I don't like that. Okay, anyway, $300 for 10 years. Let's go. All right, Sam. Sam got $300. There we go. With zero investment. Now, some of y'all got an investment amount. Let's say some of you say, well, I want to start the investment with $5,000. Let me know if you want to do an initial investment in your hypothetical as well. All right, so we got $300 a month. Sam is investing. Length of time, she put 10 years. And we're doing 10% interest. Let's calculate. All right, so in about 10 years, Sam can expect to have at least $57,374.73. So just that quick, you can have a little extra something. Now, she might be able to put a down payment on at least maybe 2, maybe 3 investment properties. And then we get all of those investment properties bringing in some passive income and making some extra cash. She may decide to go get an Airbnb, whatever it takes, but we can put this money and deploy it, put it to work so that we can get even more out of it, maximize it. Okay, so we have that hypothetical there. And what's interesting, Sam, is I'm going to add something to yours. Let's say you did $300 a month, but let's say you started off with, let's say you had 10,000. You started off with 10,000, and then you put $300 a month into that as well for 10 years, 10%. We was at 57,000. Let's see what that does. All right, so instead of 57,000, you're looking at more like $83,312.15. Makes a big difference just by putting a little down in there as well. So we understand the benefit. Why am I showing you all this? Because you can make an adjustment in your budget and eliminate certain subscriptions or expenses and start investing that money for your future. You have to really start thinking about who is going to take care of you in the future. Do you want to be solely dependent on Social Security, or do you want to have a nice nest egg that you can draw from creatively to help take care of yourself as well? So this is a good exercise for you to be able to see, how can I reward myself if I eliminate certain things that I do not need any longer? So it's past the point of just eliminating things. It's once I eliminate and I recoup funds, and I like that sound. Anybody like the sound of just recouping funds, getting your money back? When you can recoup funds, when you can get rid of credit card debt, when you can eliminate certain bills and expenses and things like that, what can I do with that money now that I have it back in my possession? That is the key. That's what I want to talk to you about today, is getting certain people, the middleman, bills and expenses out of the way that you've been paying for years to put the money back in your possession. Get rid of the middleman and you be the plug for yourself to be able to have financial success. So we did have one more monthly contribution, $50 a month, that I'm not going to ignore. One, because that is my wife, and she'll say, why didn't you do mine? So let's avoid that problem. Length of years, $50 a month, 10 years, 10% interest annually. Hit calculate. All right, so we will have an extra $9,562.45, and that's just off of $50. Some people, you might be in a situation where all you can do is $50 a month right now. Guess what? That is better than nothing, because you're going to have close to 10 grand just off of that $50 a month. Once again, I would take that 10 grand and I would find a real estate deal opportunity. Some people think that that's not enough to put down on a property, but it is. I will find a deal. And if I find that deal, I'm going to put that money down. And after I put that money down, I'm going to basically find a real estate deal that I know I can get at least 10 to 12% return on investment annually based off of the money that I put down. So it's putting that money to work. So it's not just having that lump sum after a certain amount of years. I also start thinking of, what am I going to do with that lump sum of money now that I have access to it? All right, let's see. So that's just making an adjustment with subscriptions. And I'll dive into a little bit of what the challenge is for everyone, what I want to see everyone try and do. So far as a challenge, what I want to see everyone try and do is look at your expenses. I want everyone to look at what their monthly expenses are. And some of you that I've been working with one-on-one with Coach Steele's finance training or doing financial coaching with you, some of you have already started doing this. But what I want everyone to do is look at how much your expenses are every month. When you look at how much your expenses are every month, multiply it times 5%. So if it's $5,000, let's say your monthly expenses are $5,000 times 0.05%, that's $250. All right, so look at that. I know that what 5% of my monthly expense total is. So that's the challenge. I want you to find out, one, what is 5% of your monthly total expenses? When you look at your total expenses, if my total expenses every month is $3,000, I'm going to type in $3,000 times 0.05, and that's going to be $150. Find out, one, what 5% of your total monthly expenses are. Number two, part of the challenge in the assignment is try to eliminate at least 5% of what your monthly expenses are. So in that hypothetical, if someone spends $3,000 a month on total expenses, everything, money going out, and so 5% of that is $150, see if you can go through your budget for, and we're already in November, for the month of November, and see if you can save at least $150. If you're the $5,000 expense person, see if you can go through 1 month, and at the end of the month, you can potentially save, what was that number? 10%, that's 500, 250. See if you can save $250. I want to challenge you to see if you can save yourself 5% of your total monthly expenses for this month. Now, we already lost like it's already 15 days gone. I don't know if it's too late, but you'll be able to go to your expenses. It may be cutting out subscriptions. It may be looking at your grocery list. I want to see if we can save at least 5%. And then when we get to the end of the month, we'll find out how much that 5% was for you. If you end up saving more, then great. If you end up saving 10%, phenomenal. If you end up saving 5%, you got the mission accomplished. If you came close, that's still good because it's more money back into your pocket. So that is the challenge that we have for the month of November, and we'll do it in December as well. Okay, another thing that we spend money on, entertainment. Sometimes we don't realize how much we spend on entertainment. It may be like going to high school basketball games, football games, middle school games. We have to pay money to get tickets to get into those games. And sometimes we're buying snacks, we're buying candy. We may go out with friends, hanging out, different events, sporting events, you name it. It's all entertainment. Money spent on entertainment, gas money to get there, transportation, food. So another way that you can cut out how much you spend on expenses and bills is how much you spend on entertainment every month as well. So keep that in mind. And another big one is shopping. So many people lately have been telling me about how they've made adjustments with their shopping, how they would just go out and just buy stuff. And it's so easy to swipe that card. It does not take much at all to swipe a credit card because you're not really looking at a bank account. You're not looking at what you actually have in your account because you just have this card with this limit. And like I told you, so many people psychologically, they've added their credit card limit with their actual income. And we can't do that. Those two are not the same. They are not like each other. So if your credit card limit is a $5,000 limit, but you make $5,000 a month, it does not mean you should spend $10,000 for the month. Just because you have access to it does not mean you should do it. I'll say it again. Just because you have access to it does not mean you should do it. Sometimes you got to tell yourself no, and sometimes you got to tell others no. We're getting ready to come up on the holiday season, and it's going to be a lot of spending, a lot of money flying around. And merchants, businesses, they are going to be excited when they see you coming. And sometimes you have to tell yourself no, and it's okay to not participate. And I'm going to deal with this for the next 2 months. It is okay not to participate in the company gift exchange or the family gift exchange. Listen to what I'm saying again, because this is going to ruffle some feathers. This is going to make people uncomfortable. I know I might be a part of a company, an institution, a family, whatever you may put me a part of. But just because you come up with an idea does not mean I have to participate. Why would I participate? Y'all gonna get me on my soapbox on today. Why would I participate in something that's gonna sink my battleship? And then people will have the nerve to tell you, well, you should just do it. Everybody's doing it. Don't be a party pooper. Don't be a Grinch. Listen, if I participate in this thing and I can't pay my bills and my expenses, then I'm really going to be a Grinch. So if you want me to participate, give me the funding so that I can participate. You give me the money, I'll go buy the gifts. By the time you join 5 different groups, now you got to get 5 to 6 different gifts, plus the basic household gifts and everything else that they require and pull from you. And now you are spent here, spent there just to make other people happy. And now you have to financially deal with the consequences. Am I talking to the person that is financially stable and this does not affect them? No. You have to put things into context when I'm talking about these things. So I'm not talking about the people that this will not hurt their budget at all. Why would I tell you that? Buy gifts. Buy me a gift. I'm talking about people who may be in a difficult financial situation. And because you're in that situation, you have to use wisdom in this season. You got to use wisdom in this time. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. And they're going to tell you to buy everything that they want you to buy, everything you want them, that they want you to bring. And you have to be humble and not allow pride to get in your way. And it may be some things that you have to say, hey, I can't do it. I can't afford to do it. Now, their response may be unfavorable. They might say, so you just going to come and eat up everything and you're not bringing nothing? If they feel that way, then you don't have to go. If they feel that way, then you do not have to go. You do not have to subject yourself to that. You can stay home, eat ramen noodles, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or fix your own Thanksgiving meal the way you want it without having to hear all the mess. But it's okay to be honest and say financially, that's not where we are right now. I don't care what comes with the consequences. I want to have financial peace, and I'll do whatever it takes to get there, even if that means I can't participate in certain events. Now, if somebody loves you and they truly care, then they would say, well, it's okay. We want you to come anyway. Don't even worry about it. We'll take care of it. And that should be the response for other people who are in better financial situations. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind. I'm going to get off that soapbox about the holidays, but I will jump back on it again because I don't want people to trap themselves during the holiday season thinking that they're obligated to traditions and customs of getting further in debt when it is not going to help push you to where you need to be. All it is a setback. And we don't want setbacks. We want to move forward and we want to make progress. And as you're making progress, I want you to be able to take that momentum and run to the next destination, run to the next finish line. All right. So we dealt with shopping. Now, another way to reduce expenses is the subject of insurance and medical costs. But honestly, I would be careful with trying to save money through insurance. Like insurance is something we need. I don't care if it's life insurance, home insurance, car insurance, medical insurance. All of that stuff is important. So I don't think I would play around with trying to save extra money in those areas unless it's something safe. Like for example, let's say you got 4 cars sitting in your driveway and you only use 2 and you got insurance sitting on the other 2 or one that's randomly just there in the garage, then maybe, yeah, you might look at taking insurance off of that vehicle because it's sitting there, it's wasting money, and you can put that extra $100 a month into an account where it can make some extra money, and in 10 years or 20 years, you might have $50,000 to $80,000. So unless it's something like that, I really wouldn't play with trying to be cheap when it comes to insurance. In the South, we just had a hurricane, and based on what your deductibles were and all that other good stuff, being cheap can kind of cost you in the long run. So that's something else to think about. I always talk to everyone about cell phones and affording what you can afford in that moment. Pay for what you can afford to pay for when it comes to a cell phone, because what we don't want to do is end up, and I say this all the time, whether it's cell phone and groceries, we don't want to pay for a cell phone with a credit card. Now you have to have a monthly payment to pay that back, and the credit card you use to pay for the cell phone, you are being charged interest. So not only are you paying for this cell phone January, February, March, but now you're being charged interest on the cell phone that you paid for months ago. You're still paying interest on it. Same thing with groceries. We buy groceries January and February, but June hits and you're still paying interest on the apple that you bought in January. You're still paying interest on the salmon or the meat, whatever it is that you bought in January, because there's a balance still lingering on that credit card. Not trying to pick on anyone, but we have to be very, very wise when it comes to how we purchase food, groceries, or cell phones, technology that we use. We don't want to go into debt just to have something that we didn't really, really have to have. If you are struggling financially, get a basic plan and get a basic phone until you can afford to upgrade to something that's more affordable. So keep all of that in mind when it comes to your finances. And one of the other things I will tell you, and I know we're getting close to about an hour, so I'm getting ready to get off probably in the next 5 to 7 minutes, but I definitely appreciate everybody that has tuned in. And I'll talk about one more thing before I get off, but I do want to thank you for tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training on today. But I do want to remind each and every person, go to my YouTube channel, Coach Steele's Finance Training, and subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. We are growing as a family, and we're making a lot of progress. And so make sure you do that when we get off and we disconnect from here. When you go to the YouTube channel, you're going to see a bunch of videos, a bunch of information, and I'll give you an example. A lot of people probably don't realize how much content and information is on there because they are constantly on the Facebook lives. But let's see if I can go to it and show you. Yep, I am there. So I will enlarge this a little bit. On the YouTube channel, You'll see home, you'll see videos, you'll see shorts, you'll see live. And of course, when you click on live, a lot of the lives that were played, you can always go back and watch them. Signs that you are good with money, are taxes destroying your profits, financial literacy check-in. There are tons of videos that many of you may not have had an opportunity to watch. Budget for emergencies, talking about the feds lowering the rates. Oh, a great interview about mental health conversation is on there as well. So you can be able to go back. You will be able to go back and watch all of these different videos that are there. So keep that in mind. One, that's one thing. And if anytime you click on my videos and you go into the description box, so I'm not sure if I can do it here. Yeah, I won't do it right now. Don't want to mess anything up. But you can go watch the video, go into the description box, and you'll see different links in the description box that will, good morning to you, Mr. Daniel Dotson. You'll see different links in the description box that has tons of content, information to help you out. And so one thing that I've been showing a lot of people, this. I've been talking about different ways on how to eliminate your bills and expenses and debt, but I've also been telling people another way to eliminate bills and expenses and debt is to also find a creative way to make money, right? How many people, is anybody ever mad at making money? I don't think anybody is upset with trying to make extra money. But there's another very simple way, another easy way where you can potentially make extra money every month. It may be an extra $10 a month. It may be an extra $100 a month. It might be an extra $600 a month. But I've been telling everyone about a high yield interest savings account that has allowed me to make some extra money every month. Not just because it's a high yield interest savings account, but as a community. As a community, if we work together with sharing this information, they will pay you. They will pay you money. How many people want to make some extra money? If you are still tuning in and listening in, raise your hand, say me, whatever the case may be. Just in the chat section, say me if you want to make some extra money. It's simple. It's not complicated. Because if y'all don't get on this train, I just got to keep making all this extra money by myself. I don't want to make it by myself. I will, but I want everyone else to participate in it. So Daniel Dotson says me. And I'm going to give y'all just a quick example of all I'm doing is sharing information about high yield interest savings account. That's all I'm doing. And from that, I'm getting compensated and the person that signs up is getting compensated as well. So we both win. So let me share my screen one more time. My last time today, sharing the screen. Guys, this is simple. And I keep telling people over and over, and the link is in my description box as well. Share screen. Let me go here. Hopefully I don't put my personal information out. Okay, I don't think I did. All right. Let me enlarge this as best I can. All right, let me go back and wait for it. I'm a few seconds ahead of y'all. So let me see how it looks like on y'all end. I don't know if y'all can see this or not. Okay, if you look on my screen, it says October 22nd to October 31st. Now, of course, it's been less than a month. I can't show you all November as well. But when you look over here, you see money referral, $75. Money promo bonus, $300. Money referral, $75. Interest earned, 4 cents. This is a checking account that makes interest. Now, there's a high yield interest savings account that makes at least 4% interest plus. What am I telling you? When you look at that amount, that is $450. It's not at $450 anymore because November, I made some money doing this as well. So right now, when you look at November, the total profit amount is $750. So it's no longer at $450. There's another $300 in there. Easy money, $750 extra made in 1 month. Is that bad? Or does that sound good to y'all? So what I've been doing is sharing my high yield interest savings account. And so as a community, we have to learn how not to be crab in the barrel mentality, but work together. Everyone work together, everyone network together, and we become our own economy, right? And so no one gets jealous of each other. No one, oh, I don't want to help this person because this. If we all work together, and some of y'all, I've been telling y'all this for months, you just been giving away extra money, not taking it. So guess what? People just giving it to me, I guess. And so what I'm telling you is you can click that link that I have. And if you don't have the link and you need it, just let me know. Hit me up in my inbox. If you have my number, text me or leave a message on the comment section and let me know you need the link. I just showed y'all every time I refer someone and they make a high yield, they have a high yield interest savings account. What do? They win because now their money can make at least 4% plus in interest, APY. So now they're going to make extra money. And I always give everyone an example. If you got $15,000 sitting in a high yield interest savings account and it's making 4 to 5% interest annually, you're going to make at least $50 to $60 extra a month. But that's nice. But when I share this savings account with my brother, my sister, my family, whoever, my circle of people, when they sign up, I get $75. They get $25 minimum. If they do other requirements, then they have potential to get $50 to $300 extra bonus. And you all seen that I got it too. All I'm doing is using my fingers and maximizing my money. I'm leveraging my money. Listen to what I'm saying. Quit being loyal to banks. Be loyal to yourself and your finances. I'm maximizing that, clicking a link, sharing it, and I'm making extra money. This bank is FDIC insured. So I follow those directions that I just gave y'all. I get paid. The person who uses the link and signs up and follow those basic directions, they get paid as well. It's free money. You know how much money the banks have taken from us? Why would you not now go recoup funds? Why would you not try to get some of this money back? And so with Coach Steele's finance training, as you are a member and you subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'm going to always give you this beautiful game, easy ways to make money. Some people have $700 credit card debt that they're trying to get rid of. They have $1,000 worth of credit card debt that they're trying to get rid of. And they don't even realize in less than a month, I just got $750 from the bank and I didn't have to really do anything at all. I didn't have to go clock in. This is free money. D-Dot says, sounds good to me. Rome wasn't built in one day. And why would you turn away this money? Like I just showed y'all, it's $750. Text me the link when you have a moment. I will. So I'm giving y'all free game all the time. Even if you don't need the money to pay a bill, you can take that money and bless somebody. You can take that money and go buy Christmas gifts or Thanksgiving meals or turkeys for a family. You can bless someone even if you don't need the money. This is awesome information that I'm putting out to the community. And so as I share this information, if I'm the only one doing it and sharing it, I'm going to be compensated. But I want the masses, people that are part of Coach Steele's finance training, the people that support, the people that show up, I want you to get education, information, and have financial success and get paid too. So we all get paid and we all grow together. And what you do with the money is whatever you choose to do with it. If you can't figure out what to do with it, then just give it to me and I'll donate it to Cameroon. But anyway, I definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in on today. We had an awesome time. Once again, if you need that information about a high yield interest savings account, then please text me, hit me up in the inbox, message me, whatever you need to do to communicate with me, and I'll send you that information as well. We had an awesome time today sharpening our iron, sharpening our sword on talking about cutting expenses, eliminating debt, so that we can improve. Remember the challenge. Remember what I'm telling you all to do. The challenge is figure out how much money you spend in expenses. If you spend $5,000 a month, $3,000 a month for the month, how much you spend in expenses, and see if you can take 5% of that value and eliminate that much from your monthly expenses. So we want to reduce our expenses by about 5%. If you do more than that, great. But I definitely look forward. If you have testimonies and you have success happening, and I have a lot of testimonies and success and emails I didn't get a chance to read today, make sure that you write down my email address so that you can email me, coachsteelefinance@gmail.com. coachsteelefinance@gmail.com. Make sure you email me. I do have a website as well. You can always go to my website and let's see, share screen, share my website. And this is the home portion of my website. So you can always go to the website and click on contact and leave a message as well. So, and it talks a little bit about the things that I do as far as working with you one-on-one, Sam. So, Sam, that's something else that you can do. You can go to my website. And also, if you have a company organization and you need someone to come talk about financial literacy, you can fill out the speaking engagement form as well. And I'll be able to connect with you in regards to that. So, Sam, you can always go to my link or email me and we can schedule, talk about scheduling one-on-ones as well. So a lot of good information on the website for that. So definitely feel free to go there to connect with me. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I think we've covered everything. Once again, you all, I appreciate you for tuning in. I am Coach Steele, and this is Coach Steele's Finance Training. We had an awesome time today talking about things that are difficult to talk about sometimes, which is financial literacy. But I'll tell you one thing, at the end of the day, this is something you want to take care of. This is something that you want to learn how to be debt-free sooner than later. In life, so many events can happen. I work with clients every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekends. And the most random things can happen in somebody's life, and they didn't take time to fix certain issues, to take care of certain issues, and all that stuff can back up on you, and you can get caught up in a trap. And so don't hesitate to take action to fix your financial situation once it gets too difficult. Let's start working on those things now. This is Coach Steele's Finance Training. Subscribe to that YouTube channel, and you